This tutorial will cover adding a slide design or background to your PowerPoint slide, changing the color scheme, and changing the font scheme. One thing you want to remember while working in PowerPoint is that it is a visual presentation software. You want to make your slides eye-catching but not distracting to your audience. However, just a plain white presentation might be a little vanilla or generic. So you do want to change the colors and maybe change your font so that you make it a little bit more interesting. One thing that you want to remember, and a good rule of thumb, is that when you have a dark background color, then you want light text and light images. If you have a light background color, like a white or maybe a light yellow, then you would want to have dark text and darker images so that they show up better on your presentation. Let's go in and look at the designs that are already pre-made. In PowerPoint, if you look on the ribbon, you have a tab that specifically says Design, and there are some pre-formatted themes for your slide design. So if you mouse over these, you can get a preview of them on your actual slide. And these are pre-formatted with a background for your slide, a font scheme, so two different fonts that are chosen for the title and subtitles, which are complementary, and then also a color scheme, and you can see the little blocks of color, and that's the color scheme for each slide. So you could choose one of these as the background for your project. The one thing that I want you to be aware of is if you choose one of these pre-formatted themes for your project, they do have some things that we call design elements already built into them. For example, this has a diagonal blue area with this black and this lighter blue. You want to be careful that as you are putting the visual elements on your slide, whether it is images or text, that these do not interfere with the message that you are trying to convey to your audience. The story that you will be telling through your visual images is what is most important, and you don't want these to be distracting to your audience. You could choose to apply one of these themes to your slides. You could also choose just a plain theme and change it. I'm going to choose the plain white theme because I want to show you how to have a solid color background. If I right-click on my slide, I can choose Format Background, and I'm just going to choose a solid black background. I prefer black as a PowerPoint slide background, but you could choose another solid color that you prefer. I'm going to click Apply to All and then close that window. And notice that my word title disappeared because it's actually in black. I can now change the color scheme here. It is currently on an office scheme, and this is the color scheme that it is currently on, and there are different options here that I have for the color scheme. This first block here of color shows you what color the font is, and if you notice that most of these are dark, so I need to change my font color, and I can do that by going to the Home tab, and I'll just select a white font color there. So if I go back to the Design tab and I choose a color scheme that I like, and I'll choose this opulent color scheme. Notice that here is my color scheme, and now I can choose fonts, a font scheme that I like. And I'm going to scroll down here, and if I mouse over them, it changes my font scheme on my slide so that I can see what it's like. I'm going to choose Century Gothic. I like that one. It's nice and modern. And then there's some different effects that I can add to my slide, and we're not going to worry about those right at this point. So you can just leave that on Office. This was adding a background, changing the color scheme, and changing the font scheme. One thing that you want to remember when you choose fonts for your project is readability. Make sure that your fonts are consistent throughout your project and that they are easy for your audience to read. And as always, remember to watch your crap. Watch the contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity of your slide design. As you are working in your PowerPoint presentation, you also want to remember to save frequently.